Glenn Compain, welcome to Election '08. You're working right there at the coalface of troubled youth. What are the key issues facing law and order in this election?
I think the key issues are, addressing the truancy problems that we have with children. So, retaining kids in school. As we know, there's a lot of crime that happens when kids are out of school. Also, I think the relationships between parents and the school. So, doing things to improve and build relationships with the parents so that they actually are fully informed and are actually walking with their kids through that school journey. And also, there's the whole employment factor. So kids who come through the education system, they need good jobs so that they can, make a living. And we all know what happens when there's plenty of time with young children. So it's about keeping them, getting them upskilled and keeping them busy and getting them into work. So I think, from my perspective, a young person who has a goal, who has a career focus and actually achieves that, builds that self-esteem and actually functions and contributes as a person of the community.
Can you paint us a picture of some of the incidents that you come up against in your work, with your frontline police work?
Sure. I mean, we, as police officers and myself, we come up against anything from young people, taking their lives. So we come up against suicide. Also, young people who are carrying knives and offensive weapons and actually robbing dairies and even standing over people and demanding money. So you've got that whole aspect and that form of violence. We have also a lot to deal with disorder offences, which is about young people who are either drunk or high on drugs, or who may be just in a group together, and they may also cause some problems such as fighting, street gangs fighting each other. So those are the sort of run-of-the-mill things that we deal with on a daily basis.
Is that type of violence escalating? Because we hear that crime is down, but we also seem to be very aware of the increasing number of violent incidents in the media. What's your view of the level of violence in society today?
My personal view is that I believe that we have become a more violent society in the last 10 years. Reason being is, as a police officer 10 years ago, we were, I might respond to a domestic incident which involves alcohol, and you become accustomed to that and know how to deal with it and know how to keep yourself safe and your partner safe, and of course the victim safe. Nowadays with methamphetamine, and Class A drugs, the same type of incident, you have to be a lot more careful, and they will often be a lot more violent. And so there's influence that have come into our society in the past decade. And not just drugs, there's the musical influences. Therefore, there's messages within the music that kids nowadays can access and are listening to on a daily basis. So,
which feed violence?
Yeah, well, words have the power to kill or to destroy or to give healing. And a lot of these kids are listening to words that are, in fact, corrupting their character. And if kids, whatever's going on in their heads is what's holding court in their minds, and that will determine what they do. So it all links in. So I do think that because of the influences, our children and our youth are subject to a lot more violence on television as well. Video games, a lot of popular video games like PlayStation games, Xbox games, they're just straight out violence. It's just about murder and mayhem, and these are entertainment games for kids. You didn't have that 10 years ago.
Do we need better legislation to control that type of content?
Definitely. I think that particular songs that may have direct lyrics and words that are degrading to women, for example, or that make a mockery or promote violent behaviour towards government, i.e. police or parents or teachers. I believe that we should not have that type of music brought into the country, and that's only music. I mean, we've got films, television, and so I think there's a general state of permissiveness that we have, and I think that a lot of people who work in those areas could do a lot more to safeguard our kids.
Are politicians missing the mark? Could they spend a little bit more time closer to the coalface?
I'd love any politician to, to hang out with me for a week and probably hang out on the front line and just see what we see and deal with what we deal with, just as an observer. And I mean, that would be great to have, a member of parliament just come and join and see what we do. And I think that they'll, have probably a better perspective once I've done that, and they'll, I guess, respond accordingly. Looking
ahead then to 2009, what's your plea? What would you like the politicians to do to help your work?
Yes, I mean, I obviously would like, the politicians to really look at the youth problems, the street gangs that we have, the community issues that are a result, I believe, of young people who don't have goals, who may not be being supported the way that they like to. I think we need to really look at how we communicate at a government level and through the government sectors to young people. Really look at, are we actually speaking their language, or are we totally missing the mark? I think young people, I don't believe young people probably see politicians and maybe even police as people that they aspire to be or want to be, because there's a lack of, I guess, relationship there. Young people tend to see politicians on the news and it's a lot of bickering and fighting, and they wonder, I imagine they wonder, well, what are these people doing for me? Where is my voice? And I think that it's about getting back down to ground, to the ground level and grassroots, and it's about being able to relate, because if you can't relate to the youth and it's not relevant, then young people can't see you in their sphere of influence, and you're not being that influence. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
Compain, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.